Episode 56 CD. Washington, D.C., Congressional Democrats. The Hill. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity. In a letter to the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, the Democrats call for limits on the air pollution known as soot, pushing the EPA to allow no more than 8 micrograms per cubic meter. The agency earlier this year proposed a limit of between 9 and 10 micrograms, though it said it will consider limits as low as 8 or as high as 11. Adopting the most stringent annual standard proposed by EPA, 9 micrograms per cubic meter, saves 4,200 lives, but adopting the standard recommended by the Clean Air Scientific Advisory Committee, 8 micrograms per cubic meter, saves more than twice that number in the year 2032, said the letter, led by Democratic Senator Ed Markey, Massachusetts, Representative Lisa Blunt, Rochester, Delaware, and Representative Nanette Berrigan, California. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity. Congressional Democrats call on EPA to tighten proposed soot standards. March 28, 2023. Senator Ed Markey, Democrat, Massachusetts, speaks about climate change during a news conference on Capitol Hill, October 7, 2021, in Washington. More than 80 congressional Democrats, led by Senator Ed Markey, Democrat, Massachusetts, urged the Biden administration to strengthen proposed rules on soot pollution in a letter Tuesday. The letter calls the Environmental Protection Agency's (EPA) January proposal, which would set the safe limit for fine particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, PM2.5, in the air at 9 to 10 micrograms per cubic meter, insufficient. Instead, they call for a safe limit of 8 micrograms per cubic meter. This safe limit, the members wrote, is in keeping with the recommendations of the EPA's Clean Air Scientific Advisory Committee. The committee has said the lower safe limit would save double the amount of lives annually by 2032. The federal government has an obligation to remediate environmental injustices that for too long have been shouldered most by Black, brown, and indigenous communities across our country, Markey said in a statement. No one should have to breathe unhealthy, toxic pollution on their doorstep or in their backyard, he added. EPA has an opportunity this year to strengthen our nation's air quality standards, save countless lives, and put health and environmental justice front and center in our fight against toxic pollution. Markey co-led the letter with Representatives Lisa Blunt, Rochester, Democrat, Delaware, and Nanette Berrigan, Democrat, California. The EPA's proposed rule, announced in January, is itself a tighter limit than the standard of 12 micrograms implemented in 2012 under the Obama administration, which the Trump administration opted to leave in place in 2020. Markey and his colleagues are not the first to call the proposed Biden standards inadequate. PM2.5, also known as soot pollution, exposure has been linked to premature deaths and heart and lung issues. It is a particular concern among environmental justice advocates as it disproportionately impacts low-income and minority communities. After the January 2023 EPA announcement, environmental organizations also called for the stricter 8 microgram standards. The Environmental Defense Fund said in a report that this standard would save about 15,000 more lives a year than 10 micrograms, the looser interpretation of the proposed new EPA standard. The World Health Organization has gone further, calling for a standard of 5 micrograms. We've received the letter and will respond through appropriate channels, an EPA spokesperson said in an email. Alabama. Landfills catch fire, briefly, all over America. Why did one in Alabama burn for months? USA Today. A landfill fire burned for more than 4 months in Alabama, polluting the wood preservative creosote is highly combustible, and the EPA. Indiana. Pole barn destroyed after blaze in Indianapolis, Fox 59. Fox 59. The fire department suspects that a wood-burning stove may be to blame, according to a statement released on Twitter. Kentucky. Kentucky residents angered by U.S. Forest Service logging plan that targets mature trees. Inside Climate News. Maine, Brunswick. ROSEP View. This Maine letter to the editor only mentions fossil fuel burning, not wood burning. Was this honest ignorance or willful ignorance of the fact that wood burning produces more particulates of 2.5 micrometer size, PM2.5, than the fossil fuel, coal, burning, and wood burning produces 450 times the particulates of the cleanest fossil fuel, natural gas, burning for home heating? Stopping residential wood burning is something that individuals can stop doing, and it is easy to monitor and regulate residential wood burning. If any neighbor of a residential wood burner complains of the PM2.5 from the stack of a residential wood burner or at the fence line, which in this instance would be the yard of the near neighbor, a PM2.5 monitor can be handed out to them by the government. PM2.5 enters the yards and infiltrates the homes of near neighbors. If governments handed out purple air PM2.5 monitors to any neighbor who complains, the data about the level of PM2.5 reaching the neighbor's yard will be collected every 10 minutes and put on a purple air online map, and historical data, such as for overnight and weekends, would be available for download to the general public and government officials. Purple air data can be downloaded during normal government working hours, and if used as evidence of pollution exceeding EPA levels, can be used to shut down residential wood burning without having to enter the wood burner's residence or check the certification of a wood stove. The purple air data from every $249 monitor is also put on U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, maps of smoke and fire alongside standard EPA $100,000 PM2.5 monitor data, correlated with a simple mathematical formula. The Office of the Inspector General, OIG, released a report in February 2023 stating that the EPA wood stove certification program was flawed, and because of wood stove industry lobbying, had loopholes that allowed polluting wood stoves to continue to be manufactured and sold. Letter to the editor. Fine particulate matter is making us sick. The Portland Press Herald. The Portland Press Herald. Most fine particulate matter, PM2.5 microns, about 1/30th the width of a human hair, comes from burning fossil fuels. Excerpts edited by ROSEP for brevity and clarity. Letter to the editor. Fine particulate matter is making us sick. If you're worried, call or email the Maine congressional delegation and demand that they end fossil fuel subsidies and support a price on carbon. Most fine particulate matter, PM2.5 microns, about 1/30th the width of a human hair, comes from burning fossil fuels. A new study published last month in the Lancet Planetary Health says world PM2.5 is higher than air quality guidelines of the World Health Organization. Doctors have long known that people exposed to obviously polluted air often suffer from lung disease, with the estimate for 2019 being 7 million deaths. Fine particulate matter is in the air we breathe and affects more than our lungs. It spreads through our bloodstream to our organs, causing inflammation, contributing to premature birth and cardiovascular disease, and causing asthma and lung cancer. Worried? Call or email Senators Susan Collins and Angus King and Representatives Chellie Pingree and Jared Golden and demand they stop subsidizing fossil fuels and place a surcharge, price, on carbon. Letter writer from Brunswick, Maine. Comment. Science is hard. Maryland. CLID equals IWAR 13 WBKNNZXTF3 NLGSFYXLIDUS underscore J1OSPT JLFKPQMECFWY 906 JBOU underscore XQ. A University of Maryland